The next subtitle is We Each Have a Stewardship. So God has given us a variety of blessings in the form of unique personal resources and opportunities. Whether it manifests as intelligence, money, opportunities, relationships, or some other form, God expects us to harness the gifts He gives us. There's a scripture. It is required of the Lord at the hand of every steward to render an account of his stewardship, both in time and in eternity. That's Doctrine and Covenants 72, verse 3. That's a Latter-day Saint book of scripture. You can find it online if you'd like to look it up if you don't have one already. They are conditionally, speaking of these resources, they are conditionally given and have responsibilities attached to each of them. Our capacity and opportunity to learn is part of our stewardship. So again, this is a reflection largely of a Latter-day Saint understanding. I think it's much broader than Latter-day Saint. Oftentimes I think that Latter-day Saints, me, as well as the other people that I go to church with, and I think it's a human thing to assume that the knowledge and the principles that you live by are like in some way like exclusive to your own group. And I believe that there are like much of what I talk about here, I think like resonates with people well outside of my own religious circle. So if I say something that sounds like I think that it's in a smaller group, please let me know. Like mention it to me, because I really try to get outside of my box and think and see it from other people's perspectives. So if you please let me know, because I would love to hear that because building bridges I think is really important. And if I don't even know what I don't know, and you're aware of it, let me know, because I think that's so like that's like what life is all about, is to build bridges of understanding that. And to connect. That's much of what the world is missing right now, is the ability to understand one another and to feel unified. We may have differences, but as a philosopher, a psychologist that I watch videos of, he's Canadian, I can't remember his name, but he says what unites us is so much stronger than what divides us. So why are we preoccupied with what separates us? So anyway, so my assumption is, at least in Latter-day Saint understanding, we believe in that God gives us resources and He holds us accountable for those resources that He has given to us. And we have a responsibility that when we die, we will have to account for those things, those opportunities that He's given us. And I suppose that illuminates, or that begs the explanation that what is the purpose of this life? The purpose of this life in a Latter-day Saint context is, well, essentially God like knew us before we were here. He created this world so that we could gain experience, to learn, to become more like Him. And when we die, that knowledge goes with us. And part of that experience is giving us resources, access to resources, so that we will be able to better employ those things that we learn about becoming more like Him. And so we will be held accountable at the end of our lives there are consequences to our actions, and we have the opportunity to use these resources for good, but we also have the choice to be able to use them for evil if we wish. And there will be a reckoning eventually one day. And I'm specifically saying our capacity and opportunity to learn and progress, gaining light and knowledge, is part of that stewardship. So even if you don't have, if you think, oh, I don't have resources, I don't have opportunities, you still have something that you can do and something you can build off of. And you have to start with where you're at in order to move forward and expand the circle that you're at. You can't just be as in the Old or New Testament, you can't just be like hide your talent. You have to, even if you only have one, you have to do something with it. You have to try to grow it from where it is. That's we have that responsibility as children of God. Actually, we have that opportunity. That's really sad when people don't expand on that. But anyway, my goal, overarching goal, backing up for a sec, is to help to facilitate that type of growth and those types of changes through providing resources that are free, YouTube and through my manual or through my classes, to help promote some of the most important, empowering principles that I have discovered in my life, so that so people can grow without feeling limited by the place that they grew up, or their parents and how much money they had, or whether they think that they are super intellectual or lack that, and yet they may have intelligence, but not the type of intelligence that our current culture validates and promotes. Like, I want to help everyone.